All right, today we are going to go over how to build all right, start over. Today I'm going to go over quickly and hopefully effectively how we build a standard 6-foot tall wood privacy fence. This is our opening for our gate. Okay, so as you can see, we build the gates on the posts. So we just run the rails straight across, just like a standard rail would be for a fence section. And everything lines up perfectly on the back, okay? First thing that you wanna do, figure out how wide your gate is going to be. For us, we want a 4-foot opening. So we set these posts about 4'1" from center to center of this post back here, so that it'll leave us, hopefully, we'll have 6-inch pickets, full pickets all the way, with maybe about a 3/4 inch to a 1-inch gap for our latch. The first thing that we wanna do, right here, we need to frame this out. We're gonna get our measurements, 25 and 25 inches, and we want to put a 2x4 in between both of these. This is going to give us free range to put our latch wherever we want after the pickets are all on this. So I'll cut those real quick and we'll keep it going. Oh, that one's pretty good. They had a dual purpose. Do not smack your tools to move things. Not a good habit. However, these have held up a long time with some general smacking from time to time, so I usually just stagger, maybe 4. It's probably not even necessary, but you don't want it hanging off. Okay, I'm gonna take this off temporarily so you can see our framing for our gate. This is very simple. All we do is run the rails right across the front. You got the gate post, latch post. This is framed for the latch. You want to make sure you do this before you put the picket on, or else it's gonna cause some problems. So the next thing that we need to do is measure up a brace. So let me grab a 2x4, which I think we have. But essentially, I like to measure these at the same time. And this is the rough idea. The low side goes on the hinge side. That's gonna give you the best support. We'll make a mark here, 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 and we'll cut this and mount it right onto the thing. Jerry's got the pensile. One thing to keep in mind is you want this to be at least an inch or so off where you're gonna cut these eventually to put your, I'd say about right there. I also like to mark or make a small suggestion on the 2x4, the top piece, the bottom piece. So maybe just a tiny little T and B so that you remember as you put it on the ground. And I also like to make just a small mark on the tops of these 2x4s where all these are gonna meet. So I know when I put these in, right where those will go. So I just put like a line, tiny line, tiny line. All right, hand me that circular saw if you will. All right, let me grab it. Recommend drilling this first, although we are trained professionals and we don't split them, usually. Nicely done. Don't do that. This is the basic framing for the privacy gate. Once we get all these pickets on, they're gonna be cut here, here. The hinge will be on this side, cut, and this thing will be pre-built on site and it'll open up perfectly. And we try to use minimal amounts of wood for the actual framing because you want the gates to be light as possible. All right, we'll put some pickets on here and show you how that process gets going. Okay, we got our first picket on right here. This is going to be where our hinges connect. You want to leave a small space and just cut these 2x4s to disconnect them so that this gate will be able to open. So leave yourself just a little gap, it doesn't have to be crazy. You want to get all these pickets nice and lined up. So we're going to run a string line across the top. Just a small nail here, run the string line across the top. And that way we know right where all of our boards are going to go. I'm going to set this one first. This will be the end board, and then I'll probably start from this way and head over. Let me grab a gun. Ugly board. Just feather that until it just barely touches that string. Gate is fully enclosed. Pretty nice gap here. Let's see what we got. That looks like a little bit over an inch to me. Probably 1.25 inches. I'd say you probably want to get that gap to about 3/4 of an inch would be about perfect, but you want to leave yourself room depending on whatever kind of latch you're using. They're all a little bit different. We can start to put our hinges on. So I'm going to get the hinges and the hardware and show you guys how to do that. All right, we're ready to set our hinges. So like I said before, this 2x4 here, this needs to get cut before we set the hinge. You want to do one at a time. Cut this one, we'll put our hinge on, and we can cut this one, then we can cut this one, put our hinge on. You don't want to cut them all at the same time, because then you're going to have a big problem. I like to start with one hole so I can get it up there, especially if you're by yourself. You want to make sure that this is on the top. If you do these upside down, this hinges can pop right out. These are 1/2 inch, but they can be troublesome because they have this coating on them, and it's definitely quite a bit bigger than 1/2 inch, so they don't really like to sit inside of that. So okay. And we can cut these as well. Now, circular saw, okay. Now we have a functioning opening gate. You can see the framing on the back side. Very simple, very sturdy. This isn't like an extremely fancy or crazy design. This is just a very simple way to make an entry gate that's going to line up perfectly with everything. It's going to serve the purpose. This is pretty standard. We install a lot of these for customers, and it's kind of the industry standard in our area, at least. I would say one decent upgrade you can do if you have access to Western red cedar, to do the framing out of western red cedar because it moves a lot less than this treated pine. That's a nice upgrade I've seen, but here in the Midwest it can be difficult to get a hold of. We're gonna cut these. He is cutting pretty good today. Uh-oh. See what happens when you get cocky? Not his worst cuts. Okay, look at us go. There you have it.
It's a gate.
4-foot standard walk-through gate. What a beauty. You get a nice full swing. It's about as lightweight as it can be. It's as easy as that. We can do it, and you can too. We will see you guys out there. Hey, where are you going? Where are you going? You want to check out your new gate? No? All right, I'll leave you alone.